defense. They tried to haul him down via the face mask. Zander said no way, and that is a pickup that'll move the Vikings into Burke territory at the 40.
You get a look at just what we were talking about. So hard to bring down. You're not going to bring him down on first contact. Burke defense has to rally to the ball tonight.
Gray returning All-Stater last year when he split time with Milton Sarbaugh. 1,700 yards, 25 touchdown passes, and the first pass is incomplete as it skips off the hands of the wide receiver, Jalen Foster.
Well, that was not Fogelstrom's fault right there. Foster's got to do a better job of getting those hands up quickly. It's a hot ball coming in on the slant route. Foster's just got to be ready for it.
Second out and 10 after the 15-yard penalty. The Vikings are at the 40-yard line. This is an offense that early on in the season, 9th in the state, averaging 340 yards. Again, out of that I formation, Gray right up the middle, maybe for a yard or two, and runs into a host of Burke Bulldogs. And then now North gets into a situation, John, that has plagued them in their 2 losses. 3rd and long. It can't be Zander Gray all the time. And now this is a passing situation for the Vikings, who have moved on the opening possession of the game into Burke territory.
Well, I think there's been a blitz on just about every play. Right there you see Gio Maynard coming on the corner blitz to get in there and redirect the route for the running back. But Burke defense coming out really aggressive to start this game.
And here they come again. And the short pass near the sideline sails way wide of the intended wide receiver. And that'll bring a 4th down to the first decision of the night for Larry Martin, the 19th year head coach of the Vikings. And he'll send his punting unit out onto the field. So they can't do anything with the 15-yard personal foul. And they will punt it away, and they will try and pin Burke deep. And then we'll get a look at one of the most prolific offenses in the state. It averages over 400 yards per game. Get a look at the north sideline. 3 times in the last 5 years, they have won the Class A state title. They are familiar with late November in Lincoln. It's a short punt. Burks gets away from it, and it will be downed at the 17-yard line. And now we'll get a look at the Tyler Chadwick offense. In his 3rd year as a starter, you've got Chadwick, you've got Burks, you've got Watts, you've got Hickman. You have plenty of options, and that's why Burke, preseason #1 for the 2nd straight year. They put up 115 points in 3 games. As Chadwick this year has thrown for 552 yards, 34 of 53, and he's in the pistol. And the handoff to Burks, and he is hit almost as he gets the handoff. Stephen Krawczyk, the transfer from Creighton Prep, who led the Junior Jays in tackles last year, comes up and hits Burks in the backfield.
And we know that name, Stephen Krawczyk. He's been a feature on a few of our broadcasts here on Game Time, especially last season. Good defensive player, excellent linebacker, and a good play to start off this game for the North defense.
Transfer to the offseason from Creighton Prep. His brother is still at Creighton Prep. His father, Jay, the opening night was Prep and North. And Burks again is stopped at the 20-yard line for a short gain again. And it is that man, Stephen Krawczyk. Krawczyk is 6'2", 205 pounds, playing that middle linebacker spot. You get a look as he picks up Burks and drops him, and now it's 3rd and long for the Bulldogs.
Yeah, it's just a good job of staying with the play. Krawczyk scraping. You're going to see him come across and just makes a good form tackle and holds up Burks, waiting for his teammates to get there.
3rd down and 6. Chadwick has 3 wide receivers, looks at a 5-man front. Snap back to him. Play action. His pass is caught. It'll be short of the first down, and it's a fumble. But they are going to say that it was never controlled by the wide receiver, Michael Payne III. It is incomplete. And so North forces a 3-and-out on this Burke offense.
Couldn't ask for much more from your defense to start out the game. Hold the Burke defense to just about, 2 or 3 yards on 3 plays and force the punt. It's almost tipped at the line right there. And then a good job on the outside of making the tackle before the receiver can control the football.
Colin Campen with the wind at his back. His punt is fumbled, and then landing on top of it is Marcus Siegel. That could have been dangerous, and that's been a problem for North. Again, they turned the ball over early against Millard West, got in a 21-0 hole. They rallied, but they lost last Thursday, 28-14. They got a break there, and we'll see their offense for the 2nd time.
Yeah, this is not great. It's not what Larry Martin wanted to see early on in this one. a big focus for them this week was mentality. Coming out and not making mental mistakes.
Here's Xander Gray once again. And he is just like a pinball bouncing off white jerseys. That is a pickup of maybe a yard. Xander Gray, been in this program for a long time. Coming into this year, he had over 3,100 yards rushing. He follows in the line of some of the great North running backs in this run, in which the Vikings have become the juggernaut of Class A. From Calvin Strong to Milton Sarbon, who is at Iowa Western, starting as a freshman. So 2nd down and 9 for the North offense. And Gray once again with a carry. Those are a tough yard and a half. There are flags down as Gray goes down. Chris Hickman in to make one of the stops. Chris Hickman and Nick Henrich both took their official visits to Nebraska last week. They picked up the flag. Nick Henrich is already verbally committed to Nebraska. Hickman is a priority of the Huskers. So much, in fact, that Barrett Ruud, who is the linebacker coach for Nebraska, and Sean Beckton, who is the tight end coach, they are in attendance tonight on the sidelines as they get a look at North, 3rd down and 8 from the 34-yard line. Just underway, both teams have had to punt the football. 2nd possession for the Vikings. And from behind, it's a strip by Hickman. It's a recovery by Burke. Or check that. On the strip sack, Chris Hickman from behind.
Well, we were saying Chris Hickman hadn't made a ton of plays so far this season. There's a big one. Comes around on the outside linebacker blitz. Fogelstrom never saw him. He wasn't picked up and creates the big turnover for Burke, now in business inside the 30.
Hickman and the Rivals in 24/7 rankings, one of the top tight ends in the country. Nebraska looking at him at that position, but he can play the outside linebacker spot. Burke's escaped 1 tackle, but not the 2nd and 3rd. It is a pickup of about 4 yards for James Burks, who's one of the top rushers early on in the season, 358 yards. He's got 7 scores. He's 8th in the state in rushing. Went for 180 and 3 scores last week in the Central victory.
Perhaps his most impressive number is the 9 yards per carry that he's getting.
2nd down as you get a look at Sean Beckton on your left, Barrett Ruud on your right. Chadwick looking to the sidelines as Burks comes up to join him on his left hip. Snap back to him, and they hand off to Burks. Burks has got blockers in front of him, one of them being Nick Henrich. And Burks will carry it down to the 16-yard line for a 1st down. That lead handoff, and when you have the big guys on the left side of the line blocking like that, James Burks is going to get some big chunks of yardage.
Nolan Olafson at 260, Dylan Sales at 235. When you throw in Nick Henrich at that H-back spot coming up in there, giving you a lead blocker, it's a lot of hamburger.
Burks last year led Class A in rushing with over 1,900 yards. Burks' season came to an end in the semifinals on this field. Chadwick to put it up, and it is caught. It was a low throw, but it is hauled in by the wide receiver, Payne III, for short yardage. Nearly halfway through the 1st quarter from Kinnick Stadium, named after the former Heisman Trophy winner Niall Kinnick, who prepped for a brief time at Omaha Benson. Here's Burks on 3rd down, carrying, and he is hit hard at the 5 and pushed back. But he got to the 6, and that was enough for a 1st down.
That certainly looked like he was going to pop through there. Big tackle made by DeAnthony Cribbs.
The junior linebacker came up and met Burks one-on-one. But Burks again with those big, powerful legs that we've talked about a lot when we've had Burke here on Game Time. He kept the legs a churning and was able to get the 1st down after the hit.
And it's that wrestler leverage. He's just so good at controlling his body and keeping momentum.
3-time state champion. He's in the backfield as the Bulldogs are in the shadow of the goal line. 1st and goal from the 6. Miscommunication in the backfield. Chadwick turned the wrong way, and he's going to be sacked behind the line of scrimmage. He went one way, Burks went the other, and then Chadwick was in no man's land, and he was swarmed by the Vikings.
Malachi O'Neal from the outside linebacker spot gets in there after the miscommunication. It's a good read by O'Neal. See it right here. Running back goes the wrong way. And O'Neal just wraps up the leg, hangs on.
It's a loss of 3. Second down and goal. Burke taking over with great field position after the strip sack by Chris Hickman. Hickman lines up in the H-back roll and now splits out to the bottom of your screen. Chadwick looking for Hickman. The fade to the back of the end zone, and he goes up and he makes the catch and he gets a foot down. That's his first catch of the season. And when you're 6'6", you can climb the ladder to haul it in from 9 yards out.
Yeah, despite the fact that he had no catches through 3 games, you get a glimpse right there of why he's so highly rated as a tight end. A red zone threat extraordinaire. Look at Chadwick, doesn't even think twice. Turn, throw the fade ball. He just jumps up over top, keeps the foot down. Great catch for his first one, Chris Hickman.
8th touchdown pass of the year thrown by Chadwick. And Campen's PAT is good. So the turnover leads to 7 for the Burke Bulldogs. Larry Martin does not like the contact in the corner of the end zone as he lets the officiating crew know about it. 7-0 and UCO red hot. Seneca, Illinois native Larry Martin. He thought that Hickman pushed off in the corner of the end zone. The officials thought otherwise. It's 6 for the Bulldogs, and that a very kind of low-key Larry Martin is being held back by 4 of his team members. He is letting the officiating crew hear about it. All they hear is that it was good in their eyes. 7-0 Burke leads North. It's game time on YurView.
You're watching Game Time on YurView. For more in-depth coverage of the top players around, recruiting updates, behind-the-scenes access, and more, check out YurView.com.
Here's to the do-gooders. They're the early risers, the selfless, the forward thinkers, the brave. There are many ways to describe them. We call them family. CHI Health. Good happens here.
You're watching Game Time on YurView. For more in-depth coverage of the top players around, recruiting updates, behind-the-scenes access, and more, check out YurView.com.
And again, the north sideline as we return to Kinnick Stadium. And letting the officials know they were not happy with the touchdown by Hickman on the fade to the back corner of the end zone. Chadwick to Hickman. And that's the first scratch on the scoreboard. 7-0 in favor of the Burke Bulldogs. We're trying to go to 4-0 before we get into district play. Week 4 of the season, the final night for most before they get into district play. And we get a rematch of the semifinals. As you get a look at Colin Campen punch through the PAT and get set to kick off. So a turnover leads to 7 after the strip sack by Hickman. That was his drive. Forced the turnover, caught the touchdown pass. Campen's kickoff is short and headed towards the end zone, and it just sneaks into the end zone. It looked like it was going to bounce out at the 1, but it was into the end zone for a touchback, John.
Yeah, fortunate break right there for Burke, because if that thing goes out, even if it goes out of bounds at the 1-yard line, Omaha North's going to get great field position. But as it stands, just a touchback, and now 80 yards in front of this North offense.
North so far this year, they scored 67 points in the 3 games, 46 of those coming against Omaha Northwest, which, by the way, that's where we're at. We're on the campus of Northwest High School. They are trying to get to 3-1. Ray is going nowhere. Around the left side, Hickman led the charge. Nick Henrich in there. Also coming up was Terrell Turner. Pretty stout front 7 for Burke. You don't need to go very far to figure out why Burke got a lot of love in the preseason to be preseason #1 for the 2nd straight years. You're going to look at Henrich on your left, Hickman in the center of your screen. Took their official visit at the same time last weekend in the Nebraska-Colorado game. 2nd down and 13. Gray lost 3 yards. And they stacked the box again. And North throws it out to the flat. Looked like momentarily it was going to be a big gainer. But tripped up was Ian Brown, who we expect to see a little bit more tonight.
It was a double inside linebacker blitz as this Burke defense just continues to be extremely aggressive. Vogelstrom got it out quickly, and just a shoestring tackle, or Brown might still be running.
Burke has never won a state title. They were in the 2011 final. They lost to Southeast. They've been in the playoffs 27 times. Paul Lamanji has set this program up for success, not only this year, but in the future. They got a loaded roster with seniors and juniors and some young ones coming up. As Fairgood Jones carries for minimal gain, and now a third down, or a fourth down for North. So on third down and medium, they don't have enough faith to go to the air yet, and they're going to have to punt the football once again. So they've punted twice in their first 3 possessions. And again, Burke Bulldogs, the black helmets are all around the football. That tackle led by Creighton Kamanich.
Well, the left side of this offensive line for Omaha North early on has struggled a little bit. They're having some trouble picking up the blocks. And have to pick that up, find the second level defenders, and try to neutralize them so these backs have some room to operate.
Burke up 7-0 on a Tyler Chadwick touchdown pass, his 8th of the season. Chadwick in his 3rd year as a starter added 20 pounds in the offseason. He has taken a couple of visits over to Des Moines to Drake. So Minnesota Moorhead, Northern State, Augustana, Wayne State, looking at the Burke Bulldogs signal call. And a pickup of 9 on a first down carry.
That was a tough run by James Burks. Well blocked play, and he got to that second level, just mowed down a North defender. For a guy who's not terribly big at 5'9", 170, he's got that in him. He'll run over some guys.
Burks was All-State last year, so boy, does he love his fall and his winters. And he likes carrying the football here. Can he get outside? He is tripped up as he tried to break it on the inside. Tyree Stovall, the senior defensive back, got a piece of Burks. Not before he got another first down, and the chains move, and this Burke offense starting to make a little noise, up 7-0. Chadwick looks at a 4-man front. Snap back to it. Play action. Looking deep down the field. Now chased out of the pocket on the run. And he will be hauled down at the 40 on an arm tackle by Stephen Kronchik, who has had himself a night early on.
And if you want absolute honesty right here, Gary, Tyler Chadwick needs to come off the field. He got a knee to the side of his head, and as he went down, he grabbed his helmet and then quickly pulled his hands back to his side and went back to the huddle. They need to get him off the field.
Second down and 6. We'll keep an eye on Chadwick. They turn and hand it off to Burks. Burks cut it back. There's a flag down as he dove to the 35 for a pickup of 4. It's going to bring up a third down and short, but Ron Stolman will let us know what the flag is as he will come into your screen right there. It is holding on Burke, and that'll push the Bulldogs back.
And this is an area where Burke really needs to clean it up, is the penalties, as you mentioned before we got this thing kicked off. They've just have some trouble sometimes with the mental errors. You know, the face mask we saw early on that didn't come back to bite them. But the holding here really is going to put a damper on this drive that was really starting to move along. They'd gotten into North territory. Now they're pushed back across the 50.
Now they're at their own 49. It brings up a second down and 16 here on Game Time on YurView. 7-0 in favor of the Bulldogs. And the pass by Chadwick skips short of the intended wide receiver, Xavier Watts. And that'll bring up third down. We will tell you more about Xavier Watts, who is one of the top wide receivers in the area. We saw Xavier Betts from Bellevue West last week. Betts and Watts, that's pretty easy to remember.
The two Xaviers.
They make a really, really good combo.
X and Z.
So Paul Lamanji, 13th year head coach of Burke, graduate of Youngstown State, going through his playbook. What will he decide on 3rd down and 16? You get a look at Chadwick, turns around, says something to Burks. And now in motion is Peak. And here's Burks with a burst up the middle, and it's enough for a 1st down. Great blocking up front by the Bulldogs. And Burks with that burst of speed as a 1st down at the 28-yard line.
Now we've seen the outside backers for North getting upfield, and that ghost motion just keeps them honest. And Burks finds a soft spot in the middle, and a big gainer to pick up a 1st down to nullify that penalty.
In the state semifinal game last year, Burks had a monster game. He had 222 on the ground. The pitch and the hit. Back at the 30. Well,
there he is again.
We have a defensive player of the game. We might have a defensive player of the quarter, Stephen Karachek, with another solo tackle from his middle linebacker spot for the Vikings.
He shoots this gap, just bang, right now. There he comes. Makes the play in the backfield. Good play by Karachek.
It's a loss of 2. Clock running, and Burke may be content with let the clock run out and head to the 2nd quarter. And that looks like what they will do. Well, no, Paul Lamanji will take a timeout. He does have a slight wind at his back. So with 4 seconds to go here in the 1st quarter, Paul Lamanji, you see there in your screen, in search of his 1st title, and his counterpart tonight, Larry Martin. 2 coaches have a long history. Last year in the semifinals, you mentioned, this is the 44th meeting between the 2 schools. North has won 3 in a row. They won that game in the semifinals. They also won the regular season game last year. And these 2 teams met over at Burke. Tonight, North trying to avoid a 1-3 start before they get in district play.
It just sounds wrong, doesn't it?
Yeah. To Larry Martin, he says your record is what you are. Been disappointed in some of the mistakes. There are 2 losses to Creighton Prep and Millard West, 2 teams that now Creighton Prep is 3-1. Millard West is trying to get to 3-1 tonight in a really good showdown at Buell Stadium against Millard South. But he says it's been a lot of our own mistakes. They're finding their way, but the mantra for North football since Larry Martin took over and got this thing rolling is late October, early November, they want to be playing their best football. Can they come up with a key stop here in the final play of the 1st quarter? 2nd down and 12 at the 30-yard line. Chadwick sets his offense as Peak goes in motion. Chadwick's pass, Watts catch, and he's hauled down, but enough for a 1st down. And that'll bring us to the end of the 1st quarter. As Xavier Watts hauls in a 1st down catch, and the Bulldogs will be in the red zone when you return for the start of the 2nd quarter. Burke 7, North nothing. After 1, it's game time on YurView.
Transform your existing space today with a new remodel from DeLoa & Sons. No matter what your budget is, our in-house design team will bring your vision to life, providing the quality craftsmanship you expect. And you work directly with the owner during all phases of your project, remodeling residential and commercial spaces for over 20 years. DeLoa & Sons. Design, build, remodel. Start your new project today. Call or learn more at DeLoaConstruction.com.
This is Rose. Rose was destined to be different, to be a small business owner. She chose Cox Business because we're different too. We got to know Rose. And while she likes to take risks in the kitchen, we made it easy to keep an eye on safety. It's just another way we do business differently. Cox Business Security Solutions.
Now at H&H, Factory Direct Clearance Pre-Owned. As a new car dealer, we get access to Factory Direct used vehicles before the public. And we just got a shipment at all 3 locations. Visit hhautomotive.com and click Factory Direct to see them all. Deals like this 2017 Camry, only $16,000. We're passing the savings on to you at all 3 H&H locations. Or shop online, hhautomotive.com.
On a beautiful mid-September Friday evening as the sun goes down. When we're done here tonight, how about turning up this week on YurView's high school football recruiting podcast, Over the Middle, with Urban Meyer returning to college football after being suspended with the investigation into allegations that he mishandled domestic assault accusations against his former assistant coach Zach Smith. It's the perfect time to examine if the Buckeyes' recruiting efforts have been impacted by the situation. Jeremy Crabtree will be with you as Burks carries all the way to the 5-yard line. Jeremy joined this week by 4-star Ohio State quarterback commit Jack Miller from Scottsdale, Arizona, and Ohio State recruiting writer Mark Givler of BuckeyeGrove.com. All that and more on this week's episode of Over the Middle Podcast. Check it out at YurView.com. Jeremy Crabtree, one of the best recruiting guys in the country, and he is ours, and every week he delivers a stellar podcast for your listening. Burks again. First and goal from the 6. The Bulldogs trying to go up 2 scores. They'll keep it on the ground. Burks got it into the end zone. It's Chadwick with the fake to Burks and into the end zone with a touchdown pass to Watts.
And the train keeps rolling. This Burke offense just keeps it moving. So many weapons. We saw Hickman score the first touchdown. There's the other guy on the outside, Xavier Watts. And boy, if you're a quarterback, you gotta love that.
Campen splits the uprights, and it is 14-0. As Chadwick with 2 touchdown passes tonight to Hickman, now Watts. That one from 6 yards away, and Chadwick has 9 touchdown passes in 4 games this year. As Xavier Watts hauls in another catch. That's his 4th score. He likes playing on game time.
Now you take a look. They've been running Burks on the inside, and it's the slant to Watts on the outside. That is tough to defend, especially the way Burke has been running the football.
Last year in the state semifinals, Burke was up in the 4th quarter, 28-14. But then North rallied and scored the game-winning touchdown with 1:44 to go, 129-28. It's been the rallying cry for Burke ever since that Friday night in November on this field. They have worn the shirts that say unfinished business with 1 minute and 44 seconds on them. And they've talked about payback coming into tonight's game. And they've openly talked about wanting to win state. Burke has never won a state championship, but for the 2nd straight year, they are the preseason #1 team, and they're off to a 3-0 start, and they're off to a 14-0 lead. 31 seconds into the 2nd quarter. Colin Campen will kick off again for this Viking offense that has to find something other than Xander Gray out of the backfield. Short kickoff. North will get good field position, and even better, as squeaking out near midfield is Jalen Foster.
Now they try that little pop-up kick just to try and avoid getting a big return, and it doesn't really work out. This is great field position for North now.
This is their best field position. They got help early on in the 1st quarter from a 15-yard penalty on Burke, but they couldn't do anything with it, and ended up on a strip sack by Chris Hickman that the Burke Bulldogs turned it into 7. Now they will take over for their 4th possession tonight. And a little misdirection and slipping and falling down, and that's going to be a loss of 4 yards.
Looked like a little trick play coming there as Foster was coming on the inside. I think he was going to try and hand it off to the tight end on a little wraparound handoff, and just collided with the tight end instead and fell down.
last year out of the backfield, North had Milton Sarbaugh and Xander Gray, so they had some thunder and some lightning, and here a swarm as Billy Kennedy sacks the quarterback. Fogelstrom had no chance. After receiving the snap from center, he took one step back, and Billy Kennedy, the senior lineman, was all over.
And Hunter Push just got beat to the inside. Kennedy coming on the blitz from the outside backer spot. Push just never got a hand on him.
So it is 3rd down and 15. So after the good kickoff return, now pressure on Fogelstrom. He tosses it up. Gray catches it, and Gray is hauled down. Burke's held on for dear life and got some help. And North once again is going to have to punt the football.
Well, they're trying to run a screen, and 6'6" Chris Hickman comes flying through there, forcing Fogelstrom to have to throw it over top of him. And the ball floats a little bit when you have to do that, and Burks is able to make the tackle.
James Burks does a little bit of everything. We've talked about his ability on the ground. He had 9 tackles to go with his 180 yards rushing last week. He also returns kicks. Here he calls a fair catch on the punt, and Burke will start up 2 scores on their own 26-yard line with 9:32 to go in the first half. There is a flag down way behind the play. Ron Stallman, our referee, will let us know that it is on North. Discussion with Paul Lamanji where they're going to spot the ball. We'll see if Lamanji elects to take it and push North back. And nope. Believe that he will decline it at the 26-yard line. That is where the Bulldog offense will start. Are you looking for a new career? Explore our programs in business, health, and technology. Get going today on your career path by visiting iwcc.edu. Iowa Western. The world is waiting. 14-0 on 2 Tyler Chadwick touchdown passes for the Burke Bulldogs. They will march off 5 on the penalty. So at the 31-yard line, Tyler Chadwick is back out there with a brand new running back. Jalen Roussel, the junior running back who we liked a couple of weeks ago, checks in for the first time. You think, okay, we get Burks out of the game. And then Roussel comes in, and he has 219 yards on this young season. As North in a very crucial situation here, down 2 scores. Larry Martin takes a timeout to settle his team down. Larry has not been happy all night long, whether it be the touchdown pass to Hickman that made it 7-0 or the way his team has played. They just have not been able to get any traction on offense, and that defense has been on the field already a lot.
Well, they certainly have, and the big message coming into this game was focus, because as you mentioned in our open, he thought that his team had beat itself, you know, not disrespecting the opponents, of course, but that the mistakes that they had made had really lost the games for them. And so far, it doesn't seem like they've corrected a lot. I mean, they've been beaten for 2 touchdowns. They have a fumble and 4 punts for their offensive series. It's not been great.
Larry from small town in Illinois, Seneca, Illinois, less than 2,000. Graduated from Northern Illinois, was at Fremont Bergen for a decade before he took over at North. And boy, has he changed the culture of this program. He has ingrained himself into the community, and he is in it for the right reason. 132-67. His first year here, they went 1-8. Well, now they've won 3 of the last 5 Class A titles. Big set of downs here for the North defense. Roussel with his first carry. Boy, he dances, puts a foot in the ground, and sprints for 3 yards to bring up 2nd down and 7. Roussel, Watts, also Robinson are 3 very good-looking juniors. So when you think that Burke loses a 3-year starter at quarterback, a great running back, 2 Division I prospects that might be going to Nebraska, and Hickman and Henrich, they turn around and they've got a nice cupboard full of juniors.
They certainly do. And then you've got Gio Maynor, who's the 3rd string back behind Roussel and Burks, who's also a really good one.
Chadwick to throw it. Watts to catch it. And he is brought down by Krawczyk again on a very, very good open field tackle. Watts has got a great burst of speed, and Krawczyk squared him up and brought him down for another solo stop.
I don't know if any of those Division II or FCS schools in the Midwest have offered Stephen Krawczyk yet, but they might want to think about it. Seems like every time we see this guy, he's just wherever the football is.
Again, his younger brother plays at Creighton Prep. Prep and North met on opening night. His dad, Jay, was telling me that was a little odd. Transferred in the offseason to North, loves the experience at the school and on the football field. Here's Roussel trying to cut it to the outside, and he made a good cutback, and he leaps for a first down.
Well, you can see the difference, Gary, between these two teams who've come out and been run heavy. For Omaha North, that offensive line has had a tough time handling the defensive line for Burke. And right there you see the Omaha North defenders getting driven 5, 6, 7 yards off the ball. And that creates running lanes for these backs who've done a nice job of reading that and found space.
You saw Hickman from his tight end spot with a good seal block, and also downfield you had Peak and Watts setting the edge to let Roussel get that extra couple of yards for a first down. The 42-yard line, the Bulldogs with 2 Tyler Chadwick touchdown passes up by 2 scores. And he plays pitch and catch with Watts, and Watts stiffs arms his way and cuts to the outside, and he's into North territory for another first down.
Yeah, all credit to Michael Payne for the block he put on that little bubble screen right there. Did a great job on the perimeter of springing Watts for that big gainer.
Watts, a 3-star wide receiver, going to get a good look again. You'll see his speed and also his hands.
Look at the block by Payne right there. Perfectly done. And then a great job of Watts going one-on-one with his defender and making a move to get some extra yardage.
Purdue, Minnesota, Iowa State, South Dakota State have all offered. Here's Roussel. Physical running back, lowers his head and bowls his way for 7. Roussel last year ran for 389 yards. Not only are they talented, but they also have a lot of experience in that semifinal season last year for the Bulldogs. They played a lot of players. They went deep on their depth chart. Usually they were winning by large margins. Twice last year they scored 60 or more in a game. Chadwick will put it up, pump fake going deep down the far sideline, and it is caught. It is a touchdown. Watts with a great move to separate himself, and Chadwick hits him from 35.
That was a great throw from Tyler Chadwick. You know, we were kind of on him in that Millard West game, Gary. We thought that, you know, since his sophomore year, he hadn't made the kind of progress that we were expecting him to have. That was a high-level throw right there. The pump fake, the shoulder turn, and then to just drop it in the bucket right at the 2-yard line. Watts didn't have to break stride. It was right there in the breadbasket. Big touchdown for the Bulldogs.
Campen is in to make it 21-0, and it is that. Tyler Chadwick, 3 touchdown passes. For the second time tonight, he finds Xavier Watts. As you get a look at the pump fake and the toss and the catch. And the Bulldogs feeling good.
You're watching Game Time on YurView. For more in-depth coverage of the top players around, recruiting updates, behind-the-scenes access, and more, check out YurView.com.
Here's to the do-gooders. They're the early risers, the selfless, the forward thinkers, the brave. There are many ways to describe them. We call them family. CHI Health. Good happens here.
You're watching Game Time on YurView. For more in-depth coverage of the top players around, recruiting updates, behind-the-scenes access, and more, check out YurView.com.
That is Nebraska's inside linebacker coach, Barrett Ruud, who was one of the top players in his career at Nebraska. He's a graduate of Lincoln Southeast High School. Yeah, who is he texting? Well, he's saying, I like what Burke has done. Well, he is here tonight. Sean Beckton, the tight end coach, directly behind him. They are here to look at Nick Henrich and Chris Hickman, the two Burke Bulldogs seniors. This billboard is just a couple of blocks away from Burke High School. Big Red Revival, homegrown. It is a recruiting billboard put up by the Nebraska football program. Who is it intended for, John?
Wonder why. You just wonder why.
So
Could it be the two four-star recruits that play in white and gold?
Nick Henrich, back in July, verbally committed to Nebraska. Chris Hickman trying to narrow down his decision. Had a really good visit last weekend in Lincoln with his teammate. 21-0, Burke with the lead, another short kickoff. North last time had really good field position. They're going to have really good field position here, as Malachi O'Neal is pushed out of bounds into Burke territory. Maybe this is the spark that the Vikings need.
Well, they need something. They absolutely have to do something with this possession. This field position cannot be wasted, and it needs to be 7 points on the scoreboard. Because right now down 3 scores. If you go to halftime down 3 scores against this Burke team, they will squeeze the life out of that second half, and you will not have many opportunities. Right now, right here, 7 points for North.
Last year, North 12-1. 5 of the last 6 years they've been in the finals. 3 of the last 5 they've won the state title. But in terms of NSAA points, the playoffs begin today as Gray is upended. He was going nowhere on a great hit by Tyrese Wynn, the junior defensive back who came up on the line of scrimmage and went low on Gray, which you have to do, and knocked him down. But North, with Burke being #1 in the NSAA points, and again, this is only week number 4, and both of these teams are in districts which they can manage pretty well. North is 20th out of 32 Class A teams in points, and they trail 21-0 halfway through the second quarter. The toss to Gray. He's got to do a lot on his own. He drags 3 Bulldogs for an extra 3 yards, but it's going to set up a 3rd down and 3 for the Vikings.
Burke brought Henrich on a blitz up the middle, and it was picked up by the fullback. And Larry Martin told me this week that they were going to block Henrich on every play. They were never going to let him run free and just cause destruction. We haven't called his name for tackles a bunch tonight, but Larry Martin said he wanted to see if the rest of this defense could make plays. Well, they've done it. They've effectively blocked Nick Henrich, and still this North offense hasn't had much success.
Henrich last week in the win over Central had 16 tackles. Here's Gray trying to get on 3rd down, a 1st down. He will not. He comes up about 2 yards short. Who is in there to make the tackle on Big Xander Gray? Chris Hickman.
And he's been the beneficiary, Chris Hickman. He's made some big defensive plays. We saw the strip sack in that first quarter, and he's been in the backfield more than a couple of times now.
Hickman, the state's top-ranked uncommitted player. Again, he's visited Nebraska, looking at Iowa, Wisconsin, LSU, Oregon, Ole Miss. Now 4th down. Larry Martin is going to take the play clock down and probably call timeout. It is 4th down and 2, down 21-0. And Larry Martin will take his 2nd timeout and bring his offense over to try and figure out what to do with 2 yards to gain. They need a 1st down. They need something positive. As you get a look at the 50-year-old head coach of the North Vikings. Warm and humid evening. It was 87 at kickoff. It felt like 92 in the middle of September. The foliage around here doesn't know what to do.
No, it's mid-September, and we've still got high 80-degree temperatures.
So what does North do here, John, on a crucial 4th down and 2?
Yeah, well, I think they're going to stick to who they are. You know, this whole offense is built to run the football. The I formation, handoff, toss, and probably not run left, because they haven't had a lot of success doing that. And the plays that they've run to the left have been blown up for the most part. I'd expect something coming back this way over that big right side of the line.
So here's 4th down and 2. The toss, and stopped in the backfield, and is going to come up 2 yards short. He got hit initially on the surge by the Burke defensive line. Tried to bounce to the left behind his big 333-pound left tackle, Mekhi Butler. But to no avail. Xander Gray is stopped on 4th down Hickman started it. Robinson and Henrich was down low, holding on to stop the big running back. And Burke will get the football on downs, up 3 scores.
They went left again, and once again, same result, a play for loss. They just had a real tough time running to the left side.
Chadwick with 3 touchdown passes, 2 to Xavier Watts. And Larry Martin will take another time.
Good job by Payton in being a good wide receiver, finding the ball in the air and making that small little adjustment. It's underthrown, so he comes back for it, and he gets brought down, I think, at the 2-yard line. It's a big gain. The positive plays for this Norman Tigers offense have been those big chunk yardage plays.
Horton's going to keep it himself untouched into the end zone, 2-yard touchdown, and Norman's pulled to within 1.
Just a smart, easy quarterback lead play, gets to the direct snap, follows the running back, and there's a big hole waiting for him over there on the right side. Have a pulling guard come over and help as well. It's touchdown, Norman Tigers.
So the nice pass play from Horton to Payton gets him down inside the 5, and it's a 2-yard touchdown run from Horton to put him in the end zone.
That one more time, just a QB lead. QB lead, call my number, coach. He sure does, and Horton takes it into the end zone.
They ate up a little bit of time in that first quarter, and then a minute 34 here in the second to march down the field and finally put some points on the board. As we said, there really wasn't a whole lot of flow to the game, and really other than that first drive by Moore, it had been kind of jagged, however, whatever phrase you want to use.
I think that's the correct one right there. I'm going to go with that, kind of jagged, where it's a stop, start, penalties here, penalties there, timeouts, just not a natural flow to the game, but hopefully with this second quarter being the start, they can go on and play a smoother game the rest of the way.
7 plays, 85 yards, 3 minutes and 1 second. And we are knotted up at 7. Norman 2-0 on the year. They beat Norman North to start the season 28-12, the first win over North since 2013. Then Deer Creek was back on their schedule after being offered for 2 years. They rushed 49 times, gained 259 yards on the ground last week. They scored 20 points in the third quarter, and they won it 43-14. First time since 2014 they won multiple games in a season, and they're already 2-0, so off to a good start in season number 2 for Coach Rocky Martin. And the freshman class in 2016, so these kids would be juniors, went undefeated as 9th graders just 2 years ago. So there's some talent. It's just getting them all together and on the same page, and that's what it looks like they're starting to do. Moore does have 2 football state championships, or Norman does rather, in school history. Moore does not. Short kick, like a 9-iron on the green. And it looks like Moore was able to come up with it. Dylan Mallett may have been the one who fell on the ball, and it was.
Yeah, just a little bit of a hesitation for Mallett right there. Ball goes into that sweet spot.
Take a look at their scoring drive, Dion. It started with Xavier Smith.
Yeah, Xavier Smith seeing the hole on the right side, taking full advantage of it, and then you see Cade Horton throw up the big pass to Petty down the field. He gets to the 2-yard line, and then Horton calls his own number and finishes off the drive. Touchdown, Norman Tigers, tie ball game.
7-7, 10:22 to go. Don't forget, coming up on the Gigablast halftime show, we're going to have some of the halftime activities here, including the Moore Band. First down run by Jace Gardner.
Jace has been running hard tonight, especially early in that first quarter, that first drive. Be interesting to see how many yards rushing he has, let alone how many yak yards he has, because every time he gets down the field, he takes a couple of defenders with him.
His 5th carry on the night for 34 yards. Highshaw keeps that time. A little extracurricular activity after the play again.
With a little chippy on the outside there. Nothing wrong with it, just a little football testosterone.
And now they're going to call timeout to measure.
They say it's a first down.
They didn't even bring the chains out.
They're that good, Zig.
He can eyeball it. See Coach Rocky Martin. There he is. Trying to get his defense calm down. They giving up 26 points in their first 2 games. So first down for Moore. Highshaw again. Under pressure, does not get away from Cole Thompson.
And it's just a delayed blitz. A delayed blitz. You can tell right now, if I'm looking at it, number 11 is spying Highshaw. As soon as he sees that he's setting up a pass, he has all the right in the world to go up there and force the issue, and that's exactly what he does. Sits there, sees him, you're not going to run, you're not going to run. All right, I'm going to bring the pressure to you, and he gets him for a sack right there.
Second 10. Gardner almost lost the ball, and Thompson with the tackle again.
And that's just a good job by Cole Thompson from his linebacker spot. He sees it well. He reads his keys. He sees it's downhill blocking. He goes, he fills his gap, and he makes the play. Right, good timing too. You saw the puller, number 71. He comes in with the speed, and he doesn't even allow him to get past and get up there and get a block.
And another flag. Maybe they'll get all the flags out of the way in the first half.
Dead ball, encroachment, defense. Still third down.
So a free 5 for Moore. And Coach Martin not happy with his defense on that.
False start. I'm sorry. Number 2 blue on a false start. He can.
Highshaw trying to draw him off sides, and I guess what they're saying is a little too dramatic with the head bob and the step forward.
I thought quarterbacks could do whatever they want.
Well, they've kind of put an emphasis on certain things, and I think that's one of them.
With 3 touchdown passes as Burke takes over. Burke with Elkhorn next week, and then Gretna, Fremont, Millard North, Papillion, La Vista. There are 5 remaining games after tonight. Here's Burks with great vision, keeps his head up and weaves his way through the traffic for a first down pickup of 7 yards.
Holes are starting to get a little bit wider up front. You just hope for the sake of North and that sideline that the dam doesn't break right here.
Chadwick's quick pass is caught. And making a move is Watts. He broke 1, 2, 3 tackles, can't break the 4th. That is a quick pickup of 11 on the pitch and catch from Chadwick to Watts.
Watts is nifty in there. He's not one of the small shifty guys at 6'1", 190, but he's got a little bit of shake to him. Whoop, right there. Like to see him get a little bit more north and south.
That play fake completely froze the North defense, and Chadwick was right on the money once again. He's hooked up with Watts for 2 scores. He's thrown 3 tonight. Here, chased out of the pocket, and now he shows off his speed as he almost picks up a first down. We don't really get to see Tyler Chadwick pull it down and run very often, but he might not be the fastest guy, John, but he's a very smart runner.
No, he's effective. This is a good read. Nobody open. Gets a defender in the air. Little sidestep right there. Good, solid run for Tyler Chadwick.
And Burke will take a timeout. Minute 19 to go in the first half. Stay tuned at halftime here from Kinnick Stadium, which is on the campus of Northwest High School. Omaha North does not have their own football stadium. They do have a field that they practice on, but they have played their home games here at Northwest. We'll have the sounds of Kinnick Stadium on a North Viking Friday night, and also a special interview with an interesting connection between Iowa Western and the North football staff. The Reavers are back in action this season. Follow Iowa Western's championship sports teams, including football, volleyball. You can follow them online at GoReavers.com. Iowa Western, the world is waiting. The number 2 ranked football program in the junior college ranks is off this weekend. Milton Sarbaugh, who was so good for the last couple of years in the backfield for North, starting as a freshman.
He was the next in line after Calvin Strong set all the records for rushing in the state, and then Milton Sarbaugh comes in. That's the Xander Gray show, and they've got a stable behind Xander Gray. Don't worry about that.
Burks is setting all kinds of records, and here he sprints for a first down. Calvin Strong ran for 7,478 career yards. Almost all of them on game time broadcasts. Burke will snap it from the 39-yard line with 65 seconds to go in the first half. Chadwick with pump fake. Now he's chased out of the pocket. Sets his feet, looking downfield. Still looking downfield. Sends it towards the end zone. Open wide receiver touchdown. Payne broke free from the defensive back, and Chadwick found him and zipped it 39 yards for his 4th score of the night.
Something else, that protection by the offensive line. To be able to do that, there's hardly a defensive backfield in the country that can cover for 7 or 8 seconds. It's just really nice job by those front 5 or 6 to give Chadwick enough time to run around back there and play backyard football.
Campen's PAT 28-0. Number 1 Omaha Burke leads North, and we'll get an opportunity to hone in on Tyler Chadwick. The pass, the blocking, and the separation by Payne.
And then just a good throw. And Payne doing a good job on the scramble drill to find the space in the middle of the field and get open.
Payne's got great speed. He was part of a 4x400 state relay team. Oh, by the way, did we mention he's a junior as well? Burke up 28-0. Tyler Chadwick making this game a little personal after the semifinal loss last year. Again, that has been a huge motivator through the offseason and this season in its early stages for that football team. They want to win state. They openly talk about it. This game means a lot to them, and they are up 4 scores, trying to go to 4-0 on a Friday night in Northwest Omaha, and the North crowd on the sideline eerily silent, which is a rarity over the last few years from North Viking football. They have really no answers right now for what Burke is doing. And Larry Martin probably can't wait to get in that locker room and try and figure things out. Another short kickoff by Campen. And Krachek will return it out near midfield. So North will get the football with 50 seconds to go, down 28-0.
Well, where it wasn't silent was down on that north sideline as Xander Gray was walking up and down, giving it to anyone who would listen, trying to fire his team up. They need something. I know they've only got 50 seconds, but geez, Scary, even 3 points on the scoreboard at half would be a small moral victory.
You can look at Chris Hickman. He has had himself a night playing that defensive end spot. And he saw Gray run right by him, and Gray breaks a tackle, and Gray bulls his way all the way down to the 22-yard line. Now North is out of timeouts. The clock stops on first down, but Gray lowered his head, kept the feet moving, and you're not going to stop him with an arm tackle. And he was able to break through it in his best run of the night. And now his sense of urgency as Fogelstrom brings his team up to the line of scrimmage. The clock running. They'll snap it from the 23. The toss to Gray again on that left side. And he may have slipped a little bit on the Kinnick Stadium field turf. He's such a big guy. He fell forward. And he still got 2 yards.
Well, North's got to hurry right here. 23 seconds and counting. Gonna have to go to the air.
And we'll clock the football. And that'll stop the clock with 15 seconds to go. I'll give a little opportunity for the north sideline as you see Xander Gray. He's doing double duty tonight, playing offense and defense. With that big run, now hoping to lead to points before the end of the first half. 28-0 Burke on 4 Tyler Chadwick touchdown passes. Here's second down. Here's a pass towards the end zone, incomplete.
Well, I thought coming into this one that Houston Fogelstrom would have to make 2 or 3 really big throws tonight. There would be opportunities where they would need him to make some big throws, and so far it hasn't happened.
So they will hurry to get the place kicking unit on the field on 4th down. This will be a 39-yard field goal. Jared Venner, senior place kicker, but before he can attempt it, Burke will call a timeout. Venner this year has not attempted a field goal. He is 9 of 10 on PATs. He'll go over to the sidelines, and important for North to take that 0 off the board, down 28-0. Again, coming up at halftime, we'll hear the sounds of a Friday night at Kinnick Stadium when the North Vikings are in town. Also a special interview coming up we really think you'll enjoy. The connection between our good friends over at Iowa Western and this North High football staff. And this rivalry night, which has been one-sided. Week number 4 of 9. Again, this will be a 39-yard field goal from Jared Venner. Larry Martin, some encouragement for his senior place kicker. Martin, 132-67 in his career at North. Fogelstrom will hold it. The snap back to him. The ball is down. Venner's kick is up, and it is on the way, and it is good from 39 yards. Jared Venner at 5 seconds to go in the first half. Puts it through and puts North on the board, so at least they get something.
That's what I was talking about. Just getting a mark on that scoreboard. Getting the 0 off of there is going to make this team feel better going into the halftime break.
Especially when you consider, John, that Burke will get the football to start the second half. Stands are packed at Kinnick Stadium. Damon Benning, former Nebraska running back, local radio host of a top 20 sports talk program here in Omaha. He's in charge of special teams. I don't know, some guy that may be on the telecast tonight. You see Venner with a field goal, and they call a penalty on Burks, who made contact with the place kicker, but from 39, well, he could have even gone a couple of more yards.
That'd have been good from 45.
Last year, Burke led 28-14 in the 4th quarter, and North rallied for 15 points. The game-winning score coming with 1:44 to go. Burke players were on the field before the game wearing those T-shirts that said "Unfinished Business 144." They're up 28-3 as Venner will kick off, and presumably this will be the final play of the first half, and then it'll be adjustment time for that Viking staff. Short kickoff off the right foot of Venner. Collected by Roussel. And Roussel tackled at the 30, and we are headed to halftime. What a half for Burke. The state's #1 team in Class A, behind 4 touchdown passes from Tyler Chadwick. They lead 28-3. Halftime festivities from Kinnick Stadium here in Northwest Omaha. Coming up after this. This is Game Time on YurView.
The Gigablast Halftime Show, powered by Cox, is presented by Iowa Western. The world is waiting. And by Cox Business Security. Join us all fall long for some of the top high school football from around the country on Game Time. For in-depth interviews, behind-the-scenes coverage, recruiting updates, and more, be sure to visit YurView.com, your home for high school football.
Okay, it's decision time. I want to experience a 4-year college in 2 years. I want to live on campus but get to my career faster. I want to get started now. Find your path at iwcc.edu and get hands-on, real-world experience. Start now at Iowa Western.
You're the decision maker, weighing every option to make the smartest choice. That's why you start with Nebraska Medicine, an entire network of top providers working together to keep you healthy. From extraordinary primary care to world-leading research and treatments, so you can be confident everyone's health is in good hands. The state's most comprehensive care in 19 locations. Nebraska Medicine.
It starts with a hardwood fire, creating embers that produce just the right amount of heat. Delicious food prepared fresh from scratch. From an open kitchen, entrees that satisfy every palate. Wood-fired to perfection. Experience flavors like no other. Timber Wood Fire Bistro, Countryside Village.
You're watching Game Time on YurView. For more in-depth coverage of the top players around, recruiting updates, behind-the-scenes access, and more, check out YurView.com.
(28-3) at halftime. Burke leads North here at Kinnick Stadium. Let's listen in to the pride of the Vikings. This is the Omaha North Marching Band. After this, 28-3, Burke leads North. It's game time on YurView.
Schedule your campus visit today. Iowa Western. The world is waiting.
This is Rose. Rose was destined to be different, to be a small business owner. She chose Cox Business because we're different too. We got to know Rose. And while she likes to take risks in the kitchen, we made it easy to keep an eye on safety. It's just another way we do business differently. Cox Business Security Solutions.
Tonight's Game Time Player of the Game is brought to you by Iowa Western. The world is waiting. Check out the stories behind the games all season long. Visit YurView.com.
Halftime at Kinnick Stadium, where Omaha Burke leads Omaha North by a score of 28-3. I'm Gary Sharp. There's John Schreiner. We are pleased to be joined by speech professor from Iowa Western Community College, Nicole Uronic, who has, before we talk about your place at Iowa Western, as people can see, you're wearing North high gear. Your husband is an assistant at North. How does that go on Friday nights with you, watching your husband on the sidelines?
That's true. It's kind of been part of our life for almost the last 20 years as he's been there. And I used to actually teach at Omaha North as well.
So now you're a professor of speech at Iowa Western. About a month into school. Tell us a little bit about the speech department at Iowa Western, why it's been so successful.
Well, you know, I have to say it's a great place to be. It's probably where a lot of students don't want to be, as they have to get their public speaking requirement in. But we have a great crew of faculty, and we try to bring our students together to build a lot of community and let them have some fun and learn about their public speaking skills.
All right, here's your chance to grade John here.
Yes.
Yeah, so a couple of guys who do this professionally.
Mm-hmm.
Give us some tips on how we can improve our public speaking.
Wow, I got to tell you, I was a little nervous for this myself. It's just a different forum than being in front of the classroom. I don't know, today one of the big things we worked on in my class was minimizing our verbal fillers, the uhs and ums and likes, and so we did a couple different strategies with those to remind students that there's an overabundance of them in our language.
I've got a
exactly
follow-up
right
question. Congratulations. You recently were recognized by the president in Iowa Western.
Yep, that is true. Thank you. Yeah, it was an incredible honor. I wasn't expecting it in any way, but just for outstanding service, just some of the things I got to do in the last year.
We know that your department and the speech department is very successful, but when you look at the school as a whole at Iowa Western, what has helped the growth of that school over the last 5 to 10 years and will continue to get bigger and better?
Yeah, you know, I've been there 12 years, and I've been able to see just astronomical growth. It's just been amazing with housing, sports programs, different activities that we've had, and it's largely attributed to a great president, Dr. Kinney, who's just launched us into all kinds of new things.
Now, what adjustments do you have here at halftime for North?
Gosh, I don't know, guys. We're gonna have to make some serious plays here. We got to get it together. That's about all I can say.
Hey, thanks for stopping by, and congratulations.
Absolutely.
We really appreciate you stopping by, and hopefully your husband and the Vikings will have a better second half.
We'll see what we can do.
Nicole Uronic from Iowa Western. 28-3, Burke leads North at halftime. Second half kickoff is next.
You're the decision maker, weighing every option to make the smartest choice. That's why you start with Nebraska Medicine, an entire network of top providers working together to keep you healthy. From extraordinary primary care to world-leading research and treatments, so you can be confident everyone's health is in good hands. The state's most comprehensive care in 19 locations. Nebraska Medicine.
Hi, I'm Van Deeb. I've been in the real estate business for over 35 years, helping buyers and sellers all over Omaha. Now I have a new, exciting, innovative program that will help you sell your house fast and get cash in your pocket in just 7 days with no fees, no inspections, and no repairs. If I don't buy it, I'll sell it for you. It's that simple. Just check it out at DeebBuysHousesFast.com. That's DeebBuysHousesFast.com.
It starts with a hardwood fire, creating embers that produce just the right amount of heat. Delicious food prepared fresh from scratch. From an open kitchen, entrees that satisfy every palate. Wood-fired to perfection. Experience flavors like no other. Timber Wood Fire Bistro, Countryside Village.
This is Rose. Rose was destined to be different, to be a small business owner. She chose Cox Business because we're different too. We got to know Rose. And while she likes to take risks in the kitchen, we made it easy to keep an eye on safety. It's just another way we do business differently. Cox Business Security Solutions.
The Burke section happy with that first half. They're up 28-3. A lot of what you're about to see. John Schreiner comes off the right arm of Tyler Chadwick, the 3-year starting senior quarterback for Burke.
Had himself a first half, didn't he? Got things going with the fade ball to Chris Hickman in the corner. Hickman's first catch of the season goes for a big touchdown, makes it 7-0 Bulldogs. And then that's the play that set up that touchdown. Hickman comes around, gets the strip sack on Fogelstrom. A little slant route on the inside. Hello, Xavier Watts. Welcome to the game. There's a touchdown for you. Fogelstrom gets his second TD toss in the first half. Then he's going to go up top. It's Watts yet again on the deep ball, 35-yard touchdown. Good pump fake by Chadwick right there, and it was 21-0 at that point. Then the scramble drill. It's Michael Payne III getting open down the middle, and Chadwick just unloads one, 40 yards. Oh my goodness, 28-0 Burke after this score. Tyler Chadwick with 4, count them, 1, 2, 3, 4 first half touchdown tosses. And the late field goal for North would put their only mark on the board, and it's 28-3 at half.
You look at some of the numbers, especially that total yards category, 251 for Burke. They have held North to this 39 yards of total offense. North has got to be able to throw the football if they have a chance here in the second half. 28-3, Burke leads North. Second half kickoff coming up next.
Here's to the do-gooders. They're the early risers. The selfless. The forward thinkers. The brave. There are many ways to describe them. We call them family. CHI Health. Good happens here.
Now at H&H, Factory Direct Clearance Pre-Owned. As a new car dealer, we get access to Factory Direct used vehicles before the public. And we just got a shipment at all 3 locations. Visit hhautomotive.com and click Factory Direct to see them all. Deals like this 2017 Camry, only $16,000. We're passing the savings on to you at all 3 H&H locations. Or shop online, hhautomotive.com.
You're the decision maker, weighing every option to make the smartest choice. That's why you start with Nebraska Medicine, an entire network of top providers working together to keep you healthy. From extraordinary primary care to world-leading research and treatments, so you can be confident everyone's health is in good hands. The state's most comprehensive care in 19 locations. Nebraska Medicine.
Okay, it's decision time. I want to experience a 4-year college in 2 years. I want to live on campus but get to my career faster. I want to get started now. Find your path at iwcc.edu and get hands-on, real-world experience. Start now at Iowa Western.
Tonight's Game Time Player of the Game is brought to you by Iowa Western. The world is waiting. Check out the stories behind the games all season long. Visit YurView.com.
Before Burke up 28-3 gets the ball to start the second half, I chuckle a little bit. You see on your screen John Schreiner's keys to the game. And number one, where is Hickman? We talked in the open that he had not caught it past this season. And then on defense, when we're not here, he plays well. But when our crew shows up, he doesn't shine as much. Not the case tonight. It has been the Chris Hickman show for Burke.
Well, there you go. And we were talking in the break. He's probably been the best player on the field for either team. Number one key was get him involved. 7 tackles and no catches coming into this game. He's done it. He's got a strip sack that set up his offense in good field position and then made a great catch in the corner of the end zone for the first touchdown of the game. Pursue. I thought that this defense had to get after Xander Gray with multiple bodies. Done a great job of that. Held him to 50 yards in the first half. And don't underestimate this 1-2 North team. There's no chance that Burke has underestimated them the way they have played in that first half. We'll look at the keys to the game for North and see how they have done, living up to what we thought that they needed to do coming into this game. And Larry Martin had a lot to say this week. We'll get to that. The Fogelstrom factor. Thought that he needed to make 2 or 3 big throws in this game. Hasn't made any. He's 1 for 7 for -1 yards in the first half. Block 42. They've done it. They've taken Nick Henrich out of this game defensively. He hasn't been a factor. It's the rest of that defense that's really stepped up, and be mentally sharp for Omaha North. And as we've said, running behind that left side, it's been a tough sledding all night long for North. They've got to sharpen up.
Xander Gray, 13 carries, 51 yards. So we'll see what adjustments that North sideline was able to make in the locker room. Down 28-3. They'll ask their defense to stop this high-flying offense to begin the third quarter, as Jared Venner, who put the Vikings on the board with a 39-yard field goal at the end of the first half, will kick off. Burks is one of the deep men for the Bulldogs, and Venner's kick will come up short. Burks will take it on a hop at the 10-yard line. And he will only get about 5 yards. There is a late flag down. It came in after Burks was on the ground. And Ron Stallman will show us that, I believe it was, personal foul. And a hit to the head. And there's the first mistake of the second half by North after John had just said you can't make mistakes. And we'll get a good look at it here as Burks gets hit in the head on the kickoff.
Yeah, I think it's when he gets tackled. A player comes in late, right there, leading with the helmet. That's a dangerous, dangerous play.
So Burke's first possession of the third quarter begins with the 31, and Burks runs right up the middle. There is a flag down as he's tripped up and he spins for 10. But this may be coming back. The flag was thrown in the scrum, usually in the area of holding. I'll play stripes man on this one. That's what it is. Ron Stallman, our referee tonight, makes the call. Says hello to all of his friends and family that are watching across the country.
And it's going to be Mason Williams, the center. And I think you could have gotten a couple of different guys for holding on that one.
That would then be called multiple holds by Ron.
Fortunately for the Burke offense, you can only go back 10 yards on a play.
First down and 20 back at the 21-yard line. Chadwick with 4 touchdown passes tonight. Turns, hands it off to Burks. He had blocking in front, ran into his own man, and then was able to shimmy and shake for a couple of more yards. He's fun to watch. 5'10", 175-pound senior. Again, a 3-time state wrestling champion for Westbohm. A wrestling coach at Burke. And a North player is down. First time I can recall tonight that we've had an injured player. Again, kickoff temperature was 87. Felt like 92.
I think it's Vincent, the left defensive end.
Nick Henrich in the center of your picture. We'll see this run by Burks, and we'll see if we can see the injury at the end.
And it's a kick. It's an errant foot that comes through and catches the shin.
We continue to attend to the Viking and how he'll get up and gingerly come off the field. Nick Henrich, the #1 recruit in the state of Nebraska. He is one of the top linebackers in the country. His teammate Chris Hickman, one of the top tight ends in the country. Nick Henrich has already said yes to Nebraska.
Folks are starting to suspect that his teammate is going to say yes to Nebraska as well.
Again, Chris Hickman had a very good visit. There's also speculation that with Nick graduating early, that Chris Hickman will graduate early as well to attend his school choice. Chadwick now under pressure. Now he rolls out, heaves it way down the field for Hickman, and he'll slide, and he makes the catch out of bounds. Hickman plays basketball as well. If he was playing baseball, that's a pretty good slide into second base there for the big fella.
Well, you're talking about him graduating early. That's a big loss for the Burke basketball team.
Which includes Xavier Watts, who is a double-figure scorer. This is Nick Henrich when he committed to Nebraska back in July after an unofficial visit and after numerous visits by the Nebraska coaching staff led by first-year head coach Scott Frost. Walking the halls of Burke High, Nick Henrich said yes. His father Mike is a fire captain here in Omaha. Chadwick under pressure, and he's gonna go down. He's been able a couple of times, John, to squirm out of the pressure, but not here. He loses 1 yard and a big stand for North to begin the third quarter.
It's Brandon Ballou, one of the guys who's coming off the bench. It looks like this North defense, they've made a bunch of changes out there just to get some fresh faces out there. The guys who started the game weren't getting it done. And Ballou comes up with a big sack of Chadwick right here. That's a good first defensive series for North here to start the second half.
Campion's punt will be fielded at the 40 on the hop. And a good return. Racing deep into Burke territory. Fairgood Jones.
And normally, coaches will tell you if that thing bounces, you better not touch it. But Treon Fairgood Jones shows some moxie right there, catches it off the bounce. And it looked like after it bounced, that Burke coverage unit just kind of checked up and thought that it was going to be downed. Fairgood Jones caught him sleeping a little bit, and suddenly Vikings back in business.
And here's Gray cutting to the outside. Stiff arm, knocks down a man and walks into the end zone. He put Peak to the deck. And from 17, Xander Gray punches it into the end zone for the first score of the night for the Vikings. There is a flag down, though. On the stiff arm, the face mask on Peak. He got a piece of the Gray face mask and a piece of the stiff arm from Xander Gray.
There, left side of the line, finally creating a hole for Xander Gray. Big stiff arm, gets face masked on the way. You're just not going to tackle him with one guy.
So after spotting a 28-point lead to Burke, the Vikings, after the PAT from Jared Venner, has scored the next 10, and it's 28-10. John, do I mention here what happened last November in the stadium?
Well, I was
when
just
North
thinking,
rallied?
I was just thinking, you know what the score of that semifinal game was last November? 29-28. The big fella rumbling all over that Burke defense.
14 carries, 68 yards, first score of the night for Xander Gray on the season. That's his 7th touchdown. He is over 600 yards. Now the North defense, which forced the punt and the great return by Fairgood Jones, will be back out there with encouragement from their special teams coach Damon Benning. North 1-2. They lost 12-7 in the opening night of the season to Creighton Prep. Then they won by 40 over Northwest. The Huskies' only loss of the season so far. And then last week, they spotted Millard West a 21-point lead, rallied but fell 28-14. They spotted Burketide a 28-point lead. Now they're trying to crawl back in it after the Xander Gray 17-yard touchdown run.
Is Larry Martin crazy enough to call an onside kick right here, Gary, with the momentum in his favor?
We will let this picture tell you if John has read the mind of Larry Martin. Instead, Venner will kick it away. Burks fields it inside of his 10-yard line. And he's got a good seam to the outside. Cuts it back. And still on his feet across midfield. Oh, my. James Burke doing work. I mean, he's always spinning. He's got that wrestling background where he's not going to go down. They say don't go down to the mat.
Balance, body control.
Yeah, he spun left, spun right, went forward, went backwards. It was almost like you were playing video games with James Burke's kickoff return, and that is exactly what Burke High needed. Puts him at the 42 of the Vikings to try and stunt the momentum of North after that Xander Gray touchdown. 28-10. Tyler Chadwick back out there on the toss play, and that's going nowhere as Wynn had to collect the toss behind his back, and once he got the ball, he said hello to the defender coming up to make the play.
This North defense really needs another big stop here. I know they got one, but boy, another one would do a world of good.
Chadwick, quick pass, caught, and Watts has a first down.
You know what? On the other side, Gary, the way momentum works, if Omaha North were to give up a big touchdown here to Burke, after feeling like they're back in it and they're starting to make a comeback, a touchdown here for Burke would almost be a backbreaker.
Stephen Krawczyk is the fallen Viking. He has been their best player tonight on defense. Xavier Watts now 8 catches, 106 yards, 2 touchdowns. When you get in trouble and need a spark in the passing game, you look for number 4. His father was a really good athlete at Bellevue East High School. We mentioned how Xavier is a really good basketball player. Has got interest from Northwestern, Penn State, Iowa, Nebraska, and Mississippi State. Barrett Rood and Sean Beckton, 2 Nebraska assistants, were here earlier. They have left. But they definitely know about Xavier Watts. They have yet to offer him. Now, Nebraska has offered. The previous staff, led by Mike Riley, offered Xavier Betts of Bellevue West last year. As Krawczyk is up, and he's a tough son of a gun. And he'll come off the field, and North hopes just for a moment as he shouts out some encouragement to his defense. After that catch by Watts, that's a first down. So James Burks with the big kickoff return, and now Burke back into a rhythm offensively, trying to go to 4-0. Number 1 in the state. Here's Wynn again, running over the left side. Fairgood Jones in there to lead the charge. Also Malachi O'Neal. Last year, North was 12-1, won the state championship over Kearney. They had a rally to do it. Showed some moxie in the semifinals and the final to be trailing in the fourth quarter and come back and win.
Hickman and Henrich lined up tight on the left side.
Chadwick sacked in the backfield. Breaking through, Anthony Cribbs, the junior linebacker. He swept aside the blocker, and he was able to haul down Chadwick, and that makes it 3rd down and 11. What a play by the junior.
Yeah, he's coming on the blitz. You see it right there. He's not picked up.
Almost was held, too.
Got a little wrap around on the waist that he ran through and made the sack anyway.
3rd down and 11. Can Chadwick convert it? Hickman splits out wide, top of your screen.
And that's where they're going.
That's where they're looking. That's where they're going. To the end zone for Hickman, and it is out of his reach. So 4th down and 11. Again, it was 28-0, and then North kicked a field goal at the end of the first half, and then Xander Gray scored from 17 out on the first snap on offense for the Vikings. It's 28-10 with 7:51 to go. Paul Lamanji on the Burke sideline, now in his 13th season.
He got that matchup with Hickman on the corner. Chris Ramsey, who's 5'9", Hickman at 6'6".
And the black and old gold of Burke will go for it on 4th down and 11. They need to get to the 21-yard line. Chadwick to put it up. He's got time. Now he's pressured, and he goes down. Avion Barnes in on the sack. Emar Vincent helped, and North defensively has settled in. They turn Burke over on downs, and here come the Vikings. I also want to say one more adjustment I've just noticed here. Damon Benning, who is one of the defensive coaches for Omaha North, usually up in the booth. He's on the sidelines, back where he began the year. And the pass is intercepted by Hickman. At 6'6", he threw his arms in the air, and the football found him. And Hickman's great night continues.
Not used to seeing guys that tall out on the perimeter. And he just drops, takes a couple of steps back. You're going to get a look at it. He engages and then takes a couple of steps back. Too tall. Ball was not thrown hard enough by Fogelstrom, and it's an easy pick for Chris Hickman.
Chadwick to put it up after the INT, and he is brought down from behind, and he loses the ball. It's on the turf, and it is recovered by North. Malachi O'Neal comes up with the fumble, and North gets the football right back.
What a turn of events. 3 plays, Gary. A sack of Chadwick that's a 4th down play turnover. Fogelstrom throws it right into Hickman's hands, and then Chadwick gets sacked and fumbles, and North's back on the football. This is a weird game.
Here's Xander Gray. Broke through momentarily, then that hole closed up, but not before Gray nearly picked up 9. Wow. So Chadwick gets sacked. North gets the ball. Fogelstrom throws an interception to Hickman, and then Chadwick sacked, fumbled. North has the ball, and this is must points here as the clock ticks to 7 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter. Down at 1 point, 28-0. It's 28-10. Here's Gray. He's got a 1st down. Xander Gray on that carry, John, you saw that he was not like a bull in the china shop. He was very patient, let the hole open, and then maneuvered his way through it.
But, you know, after Burke scored to go up 28-0, and he was down on the sidelines, and he was giving it to everybody down there. Then he came out and ripped off a big run that set up that field goal. He has been running possessed ever since that point. He has really turned it on here at the end of the first half and here into the 3rd quarter.
And the defending Class A champions trying to fight back. Gray again. He kind of dips to his left and then comes back right. And this time he runs into the heart of that Burke defensive line led by Billy Kennedy and also Terrell Turner. Turner checks in at 305 pounds on the nose, and he brought down Xander Gray, who checks in at 6'1", 230 out of the backfield, and now will check out of the game.
I thought on that last run he was looking a little sluggish, just needed to get a quick blow. He's a big boy.
Larry Martin said earlier today, Xander, when it's warm, that's tough. When we get later in the year and the temperatures dip, he'll be okay. And slipping in the backfield, there was a lane momentarily for Fairgood Jones, but he slipped down. And that's going to bring up now 3rd down and about 11 for this North offense, which has shied away from throwing the football. Vogelstrom struggled in the first half, and his first pass of the second half was an interception. Now he'll have to throw on 3rd down and 11 from his own 49. Xander Gray is not in the game, and with this moment, Larry Martin will elect to take his first time out. 28-10. Burke leads North here in the 3rd quarter, week number 4. Game time on YurView. We are back with the big 3rd down play by the North Vikings after this.
Here's to the do-gooders. They're the early risers, the selfless, the forward thinkers, the brave. There are many ways to describe them. We call them family. CHI Health. Good happens here.
Yell or something.
North comes up short on 3rd down and long as Henrich made the stop. Across town, a rematch of the Class B final. Omaha Scott leads York 28-24. Now North will put that defense back out there. Venner's punt will bounce and take a friendly roll inside of the 10, and it'll be down at the 9-yard line. So the breaks so far in the 3rd quarter, John, have gone the way of the Vikings. And here, if they can flip the field and stop Burke and get the ball back in good field position, then we might be cooking with some peanut oil. 28-10. So it's still nearly a 3-touchdown lead for Burke. But North definitely playing with a lot more sense of urgency here in the second half, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Are you looking for a new career? Explore our programs in business, health, and technology. Get going today on your career path by visiting iwcc.edu. Iowa Western, the world is waiting. Chadwick, quarterback, 4 touchdown passes tonight. Turns, hands it off to Burks. Burks has got a seam, and Burks has got a first down.
Well, Burke's back in there, perhaps to be the calming influence for this Burke offense that's looked, quite honestly, a little bit shaky here in the second half. He had the one big pass to Watts from Chadwick, but outside of that, they haven't done a whole lot.
And again, a big gain for Burks. And some pushing and shoving after Burks is tackled. The officials step in. These two teams had a spirited scrimmage earlier this spring. They do not play spring high school football, or do not have spring high school football here in Nebraska. But they do have a set number of dates that you can practice with your team during the spring. And during a scrimmage, these two teams took on each other as Roussel gets a first down. A lot of these players grew up playing against each other.
And now with the junior high programs established in OPS, they've seen each other through junior high football, freshman ball. Some of these guys played a little JV when they were freshmen and sophomores. Well acquainted.
Now Burke has established themselves. They moved from their own 9-yard line all the way out to the 39. Roussel this time with a hop, skip, and a jump cannot avoid a host of Viking tacklers.
We like Jalen Roussel, don't we? But it's different when Burks is out of the game. He's a difference maker for sure.
Fairgood Jones is only a junior. Now he's 5'10", a little undersized at 175 at linebacker. But boy, he reads the football really well. And then he burst to the hole. He blew up that play and was able to get a hat on Roussel and then got some help. Second down and 10 as we near the end of the third quarter. 28-10 in favor of Burke, number 1 in the state. Trying to go to 4-0. Roussel not going anywhere. He tried the left side this time. You see Steven Krachik is back into the game.
If we get a replay of this, I want you to see who goes head-to-head right here. Number 10 right there is Xander Gray. He was in the backfield blowing it up. And guess who was trying to block him? 42, Nick Henrich. Didn't get it done because Xander Gray busted through and tackled Jalen Roussel. That was some high-level talent going nose to nose right there.
So here's another key third down for Burke. Xander Gray going both ways. Did not start the season going both ways, but they have lent him to the defense here in the last couple of weeks, and tonight he gets to play defense. Playing here in the third quarter. Play action. Chadwick throwing it deep down the field, and it is caught. First down. What a pass by Chadwick, and he found his favorite wide receiver, Xavier Watts, on 3rd and long. They hook up again. 9th time tonight that Chadwick has found Watts.
And the 23rd time already this season that they've connected. That's just a great play. They fake the power. Little naked action out to the right. Watts drags the toe, and it's a big conversion for Burke.
North can't get off the field on 3rd down. There's a flag down. Roussel tackled by Gray. Clock stopped with 1:47 to go in the third quarter, holding on Burke. We'll see North later on in the year when they take on Bellevue West. Now, by no means did Larry Martin think after the first 4 games his team might be 1-3, but as we've seen in the past, North plays their best football, even with the really, really talented teams, late October, early November, as we get a look at the penalty.
Yeah, you saw the hold inside, and it might have been Hickman coming across who got a hold of the back of a gray jersey. And that's a big one. That's going to set this Burke offense back. They are marching the ball slowly, methodically, grinding away the clock, and now they're going to be in danger of having to kick it away. 1st and 20.
It was 28-3 at halftime. And on North's first offensive snap, Xander Gray scored the lone Viking touchdown. Burks, very safe option on 1st down, and he pushes the pile for 6. It'll be 2nd and long way if you're driving along 90th Street, not very far from Northwest High School, where here in a few years there'll be another high school out in this part of Omaha that is rapidly expanding. Chadwick to put it up. Pump fake. Now he's looking for a receiver, and he goes down. He goes down courtesy of Anthony Cribbs, who's having himself a third quarter with another sack.
From a North perspective, it's a very good thing that Anthony Cribbs got home, because Chris Hickman was running all alone through that secondary. And I think Chadwick saw him, but the pressure just got to him in time.
Now it is 3rd and Interstate 680 if you're out in this northwest part of Omaha. They'll keep it on the ground, and Burks Dipping, diving, ducking, and dodging across midfield. For a pickup of 13. It'll be 4th down. But this is a better option for punting as the third quarter will come to an end on another carry by James Burks for positive yardage.
Yeah, great cutback. Got all the flow going one way. Sticks his foot in the ground and cuts against the grain. A nice gainer. Get it out past midfield. You're going to flip the field on this punt.
Last time these two teams played, North rallied in the fourth quarter. Can they do it again tonight? We go to the fourth when you return. Burke 28, North 10. This is Game Time on YurView.
Okay, it's decision time. I want to take classes I need, spend less time working to pay for them. I want flexibility to transfer my credits. I want to get started now. Find your path at iwcc.edu and get hands-on, real-world experience. Start now at Iowa Western.
You're the decision maker, weighing every option to make the smartest choice. That's why you start with Nebraska Medicine, an entire network of top providers working together to keep you healthy. From extraordinary primary care to world-leading research and treatments, so you can be confident everyone's health is in good hands. The state's most comprehensive care in 19 locations. Nebraska Medicine.
What an interesting third quarter. We thought North was starting to gain some momentum. Still. A rough quarter for Tyler Chadwick. Had 4 touchdown passes in the first half. Quarter of turnovers, John.
Chadwick sacked on 4th down. Then the interception thrown by Fogelstrom right into the hands of Chris Hickman. And then the very next play, Chadwick sacked again and fumbles. North gets the ball back. Just a weird sequence there in the third quarter.
North will get the football back to begin the fourth quarter. And they're going to need some points. Back deep. Beyond Fairgood Jones as the punter, Colin Campbell. Positioned back at the 36. Steps into it and sends it away with the right foot. It'll bounce. And it will be finally down. Well, there were North Vikings surrounding the football for a reason I have no idea. They should have gotten away from it as it was skipping along the field turf. It could have hit one of them, and instead Burke will down it. And now this North offense, which at times has been challenged, they are 92 yards away from the end zone, John.
And there is 3 scores.
But this may be coming back. There was a flag on the play, and it is on Burke, and North's going to accept it, and they'll push him back.
That's a good call to accept that penalty. You'd rather not start at your own 8-yard line.
We're here at Kinnick Stadium, the campus of Northwest High School, named after the former Heisman Trophy winner from the University of Iowa, Niall Kinnick. Kinnick Stadium in Iowa City, the home of the University of Iowa football program, named after Niall.
We are not there.
We are not. We are in Omaha, where Niall Kinnick briefly lived. Prepped at Omaha Benson. All-state football, baseball. Here's the punt. Better field position for North. Fairgood Jones, boy, he caught it with a bulldog in his face, and then he goes nowhere. Maybe a yard on the return.
That was a dangerous catch by Fairgood Jones. He had Bulldogs bearing down on him, but he does secure it. Keeps the Vikings outside the 30-yard line. Now, you said it was 92 yards away from pay dirt. Now they got about 78.
And Xander Gray is back in the game in the backfield. North runs out of that I formation. Doesn't matter if it's Calvin Strong or Milton Sarbaugh. It's been a Larry Martin staple now 19 years. Fogelstrom to put it up deep down the field. It is caught! It is going to be a touchdown. 68 yards. Bryant Wesson ran right by his man, and what a throw by Fogelstrom. And the Vikings make some noise to begin the fourth.
Wow. There you go. We said it. Fogelstrom needed to make 1 or 2, maybe 3 big throws in this game. Oh, there's one. A monster touchdown to start this fourth quarter. 68 yards. 1 play drive.
Venner in to cut the deficit to 11. It is up, and it is good. It is 28-17. Look at this pass, but look at the catch and the speed from Bryant Wesson.
Just goes right by his man. No chance for Gio Maynard. Wesson with a big one.
Well, Mr. Schreiner.
We got ourselves a football game.
Bryant Wesson, senior wide receiver. That's his second touchdown reception. 28-17. Again, last year in the state semifinals, North was down 28-14 in the fourth quarter. They came back and won 29-28 to advance to Lincoln, where they won another state championship. It has been the rallying cry for this Burke team in the offseason and getting ready for this season. Unfinished business. Well, North is starting to do it again. They were down 28-3 at the break. It's now 28-17. Plenty of time to go in the fourth quarter. Game time on YurView. What a game for week number 4.
Still need 2 scores for Omaha North, but even one more would make this very interesting.
They've also shown, John, as we have seen with the fantastic pictures that are on your screen that we are told to describe, that defensive line is starting to own the line of scrimmage against that Burke offensive line.
He's starting to cause some havoc down there for sure. Tyler Chadwick had clean pockets the whole first half, has had his feet rustled a little bit here in the second.
Chance for a good return for Burke. The good coverage downfield. Avon Peak at the return out to the 31-yard line. So here comes the North defense that made some quality adjustments in the locker room at halftime. As I mentioned, from the defensive coaches, Damon Benning came from the booth down to the sideline. Don't know if that's been the biggest key, but they also are a little bit fresher. Xander Gray, we're starting to see play here in the second half. So now a clock-eating drive is what is needed by the Bulldogs. Burke's running to the outside, and he danced by a defender, and now he will go all the way. James Burks is going to go 69. A nice run. Boy, does that take the air out of the North sideline. And he did a great job, as you're going to see on the replay, John, of following his blocks. Patience, vision, a burst, and a score.
This is what he does. In crunch time, this guy just comes up with big runs. It's blocked just well enough, and right there, that move, that little sidestep juke was so filthy. Burke, 69 yards for the touchdown. Gary, you felt like North was going to have to come out in the second half and probably pitch a shutout to win this one. James Burke scores a touchdown that's going to make it real hard for North to get back into it.
Campin's PAT, the first points of the second half on the Bulldogs. One play, 69 yards, 35-17 in favor of Burke.
So after a weird third quarter where we had turnover on 3 consecutive plays, we've now had consecutive one-play drives in the fourth quarter by each team, and it's 35-17.
Well, if there's any consolation, is there here? There didn't much time didn't go off the clock. There's still 11:15 to go in the game.
I don't know if either of these teams would accept consolation at this point.
Are you interested in an exciting career in media studies? Would you like to be John and myself? You can check out the opportunities in TV, radio, and sports promotions at Iowa Western. Visit iwcc.edu. Iowa Western. The world is waiting. And we will wait on the ensuing kickoff. Burke trying to go to 4-0. One of those nuggets in Nebraska high school history that Burke High has so many great football players that have come through the halls of the school off of 120th and Dodge here in Omaha. 0 state titles. But this looks like their best bet. It's almost like when they're challenged, then you see really how good they are.
Yeah, it did feel like they came out in the third quarter a little bit lax, like they had kind of had it sewn up already in their minds, and North was not ready to give up. And then that Burke offense hit the light switch.
Fairgood Jones still on his feet. With a cha-cha-cha all the way out to the 36. He thought the ball was going to go into the end zone initially, and then it just died inside of the 5-yard line. He picked it up a hop, made a U-turn, and said, I'm going the other way, and got a really good return out of it all the way out to the 37-yard line. So the last time that North was in this position, Fogelstrom threw a touchdown pass. Do you go to the air right away as we get a look at this return by Fairgood Jones?
Yeah, some nifty footwork here by the youngster. Cut back inside, back to the outside. Fairgood Jones showing some good footwork there.
Lone back in the backfield is Gray. Fogelstrom will throw it out of the backfield. It is caught, but for a minimal gain. Roussel with a good tackle, got some help from Henrich as Fogelstrom found his receiver out of the backfield. It's Bryant Wesson who caught that touchdown pass, 68 yards on the previous offensive play.
Yeah, just thought they maybe had something set up with the deep ball, trying to go bubble screen right there, but Wesson can't turn it into anything.
And a good read by Nick Henrich from his outside linebacker spot. 10.5 to go. Here's Xander Gray. Plows his way into the mosh pit. And Gray moved it a hair, but not much. And now it's 3rd down and long for North. And after the Burke 69-yard touchdown run, it's 35-17. This is a must convert here, and maybe even, John, I know there's still a lot of time to go in the 4th quarter. You may go for it on 4th down if you don't get it here.
You're down 18 with 10 minutes to go. And you got nothing to lose, really.
Gray again the lone setback. 3 wide receivers for Hunter Fogelstrom. And his pass caught. And that's going to be a 1st down. And it's going to be even more. And into Burke territory. As Bryant Wesson, a couple of big catches here in the 2nd half.
Hey, you know what we've learned on these last couple series? Bryant Wesson's really fast. He can run.
So Houston Fogelstrom got into a little bit of a rhythm. Now, he struggled throwing the football this year, but he's looked a lot more at home. He's setting his feet here in the 2nd half. Wesson had Hickman bearing down on him. Tried to swipe the ball away. Toss to Gray. Gray ran over the back of Nick Henrich before tumbling to the turf.
Henrich did a good job. You can't hit Xander Gray up high. He's got such a good stiff arm, and he's so powerful with that upper body. You've got to hit him right around the mid-thigh and take his legs out. Henrich perfectly executed that low tackle right there.
A 4-star linebacker. He's got a nose for football. His favorite player, Sean Lee, the linebacker with the Cowboys. You see some similarities. Henrich blitzes. Fogelstrom's pass picked off. Xavier Watts is going to go all the way on a pick 6. And that might be all she wrote.
That's a tough play. Fogelstrom is staring down his wide receiver, and Watts reads it from the free safety position. But Nick Henrich, as you're going to see after the kick, times the blitz perfectly Might have put just enough pressure to bring that ball out a little earlier than Fogelstrom wanted. His second interception thrown in this game.
Camping in, and his PAT is blocked. 2 quick scores for the Burke Bulldogs, and it's 41-17. And we'll get a look on the pick 6.
And Henrich is going to time the snap beautifully. He's going to come on the blitz. Bang, right there. Doesn't really have that much of an effect. Billy Kennedy gets his hands up, but it's just a great read by Watts. He sees the little hitch route coming and jumps it. Great speed for Xavier Watts, scoring his 3rd touchdown of the game.
It was 28-0, then it was 28-3, and then it was 28-10, then it was 28-17. And North fans start to head for the exits because it's 41-17 after 2 big plays from James Burks and now a pick 6 from Xavier Watts. And all of a sudden, John, we have an interesting discussion among the crew who will be our player of the game. There are plenty of candidates on that Burke sideline.
There are a few. You've got Mr. Watts, Mr. Hickman, who's had himself a game, James Burks, big contributions both sides of the ball. It's going to be a tough choice.
The seizing of momentum has escaped the Vikings tonight. I thought after that Gray score that things would turn around, and then it was 28-17. Burke is too talented to make mistakes against. They'll turn them into points, and they have done just that. Campion's kickoff headed on a hop into the end zone for the touchback. So the Vikings now down 41-17. 8:53 to go. They will have to find a way through the air, which they've been better throwing the football here in the second half. Again, North will go into district play next week. And if you look at North's district, it includes Lincoln Northeast, Lincoln Southeast, Papillion La Vista South, and Bellevue East. Lincoln Northeast is 3-1. Papio South, who we saw last week, 2-1. Southeast 1-2, and Bellevue East 0-3. You win your district, you're in the postseason. And you're seeded according to points. They're currently 20th in points. Short yardage game by Fairgood Jones. Again in October, on the next to last weekend of the regular season, we will see North again against Bellevue West. That'll be a non-district game. This has not been an easy schedule for North. They opened with Creighton Prep. Then last week they got Millard West. Burke here tonight, Bellevue West later in the season. When you are the defending Class A champions, that's how the schedule is spit out by the NSAA. Fogelstrom, very patient, because if he would have thrown it initially, Chris Hickman would have been celebrating as his head hit the goalpost. But the pass is completed. It's caught by Carter Martin. One of the line of the Martin boys. Zach Martin, Larry's oldest son, graduate assistant now at Nebraska. Grant is a sophomore wide receiver at Northwest Missouri State. Now Carter with the catch. They're down in 7. Toss play to Fairgood Jones. Fairgood Jones cuts it out at the outside. Got a block. He's got a seam. He's across the 40, and he's thrown out of bounds to the 43-yard line. Fairgood Jones with a good burst. He hasn't played a lot of running back this year because Xander Gray has carried a lot of the load. The boy in spurts. Fairgood Jones, he's tough to track down.
Have you noticed how this Burke defense hunts for turnovers? You're going to see it at the end of this nice run by Fairgood Jones. Michael Payne III is going to come in. Watch him swing his arm at the ball. That's coaching, Gary, right there. These Burke defenders have been coached to hunt for turnovers, and they've created some here tonight.
Houston Fogelstrom rolling out of the pocket, looks to run. There's a flag down in the area of holding, thrown by the referee, Ron Stolman.
And he's the one who threw the flag, so we'll go ahead and make the call right away. Doesn't have to converse with anyone.
Appreciate everyone joining us tonight on the 4th Friday night of the season here in Nebraska. All across the country. Watching on our Cox stations. Also streaming online, YurView.com, where you can stay up to date on all the teams that we showcase every week. You get a look at the penalty behind play. John, earlier this week, had a chance to sit down with Xander Gray. Fascinating story. Xander Gray, who was a sophomore, said football was boring. Now you can't wipe the smile off his face. Loves being part of this North High football team. Hasn't been his kind of night outside of that 17-yard touchdown run. As Henrich was inching towards the line of scrimmage, showing blitz, the lineman for the Vikings flinches, and that'll push North back.
I mean, maybe I shouldn't have been, Gary, but I've been really surprised at how aggressive this Burke defense has been tonight. I don't know, you could probably count on both your hands the number of plays on defense when they haven't sent at least one blitzer. They have been so aggressive and have gotten a lot of bodies in the backfield tonight.
They have bodies in the backfield here, but Gray fights him off, cutting to the outside. He was able to escape a couple of tacklers, but not Watts or Burks. He's across the 25 to the 26, and that's just for 1 yard. And that will bring up second down, and a long way to go. Xander Gray.
And it's the dive from Nick Henrich.
And it is size.
Pops the shoe.
Yeah, size 14 went flying. Fulgestrom will have to throw it. Steps up into the pocket. Throws it deep down the middle of the field. Wide open wide receiver. And Watts was in front of him. Threw his arms up in the air. And also the official was right there. Kind of caused some confusion as well as the ball lands incomplete. And a North sideline, they want a pass interference. Watts didn't know where the ball was. Just threw his arms in the air. And I think the official, who was scrambling to get out of the way, didn't get a good look at it, didn't throw a flag, and it's an incomplete pass. And now it is third down with 6:28 to go in the game.
No, it was great protection up front. A blitz came from Henrich. He was picked up and stonewalled in the backfield. It was a decent throw by Fulgestrom. Just the defense by Watts, however fortunate he may have been to stick a hand up, just effective enough.
41-17. Burke trying to go to 4-0. This is Game Time on YurView.
Tonight's Game Time play of the game is brought to you by Cox Business Security. Check out the stories behind the games all season long. Visit YurView.com.
This is Rose. Rose was destined to be different, to be a small business owner. She chose Cox Business because we're different too. We got to know Rose. And while she likes to take risks in the kitchen, we made it easy to keep an eye on safety. It's just another way we do business differently. Cox Business Security Solutions.
You're watching Game Time on YurView. For more in-depth coverage of the top players around, recruiting updates, behind-the-scenes access, and more, check out YurView.com.
Well, you see all the talent on the field tonight being recruited by Nebraska, Purdue, Iowa State, Minnesota, South Dakota State. Recruiting has never been as big as it is now, and with YurView and our high school football recruiting podcast Over the Middle with the great Jeremy Crabtree, you can stay up on the latest, not only here locally but nationally, with Urban Meyer returning to the sidelines for Ohio State after tomorrow night's game for the Buckeyes. Jeremy Crabtree dives into how Ohio State's recruiting is going. And a big hit by Hickman, who has been part of a Jeremy Crabtree podcast. Jeremy this week joined by four-star Ohio State quarterback commit Jack Miller, from Scottsdale, Arizona, and Ohio State recruiting writer Mark Givler of BuckeyeGrove.com. All that and more on this week's episode of Over the Middle Podcast. Check it out at YurView.com. Can't recommend it enough. Jeremy is somebody who I trust and is well tied into the business. You should make that a weekly thing, the Over the Middle Podcast. Subscribe to it. And maybe here in the near future, when Chris Hickman decides where he's going, he will be mentioned by Jeremy Crabtree. And Jeremy has dived into this new recruiting ideas coming from the new Scott Frost staff. They are very aggressive, and they've done a good job of locking up the 2019 in-state prospects. They have Nick Henrich. Will they get Chris Hickman?
You know, they've locked up some 2020s as well.
After the punt, it is 41-17, 5:47 to go. Tempers are starting to flare a little bit. Larry Martin went on the field and pulled back a couple of his guys. Tyler Chadwick, 4 touchdown passes in the first half. Pick 6 and a James Burke 69-yard run. Here's Roussel. Well, he just glides, John, as he crosses midfield, and he gets a first down pickup.
Yeah, he's one of those guys when he's got a hole, when he's got good blocking, he's going to get you a good game. He's not a James Burks who is going to stay on his feet and take hits and bounce off, pinball around and gain, you know, a bunch of yards on a play that you never thought he should. But Roussel will get you what he's supposed to on a well-blocked play.
Chadwick taking his time, letting the clock run, up 41-17. Low snap, hands it off to Roussel as he picked it up off the Husky logo at midfield. And Roussel maybe gets a couple of yards as the timing of that play was thrown off. Mentioned earlier, Omaha Northwest tonight trying to go to 3-1. That'd be the first time since 1988. Omaha South trying to go to 3-1 as well. So 2 programs that haven't had a lot of success of late got off to a nice little start here in the 2018 season.
And I know that as long as we're talking about surprises, that, you know, a team like Gretna moving up to Class A, not expected to do much, but certainly not 0-3.
Now, who would have thought that Millard North would be 0-4? Roussel with another carry as James Burks is on the sideline after his busy night. Dylan Roussel, 6'2", 180 pounds. His second year running the football. Burke's offense, their season high so far this year, they scored 49 in the opener against Lincoln Southeast. Last year, twice they went over 60. They averaged 42 points a game. Roussel once again with blockers in front. And he puts his head down. Pushes his way for a couple of more yards. He was following the block of Hunter Jones. And we've seen Roussel now for 2 years, John. We're really looking forward to next year when he is in that #1 role.
Yeah, when he gets all the reps in practice and gets some off-season work done. You have to like what this Burke offense has coming back next year.
North gets Lincoln Southeast next week. Burke, they get Elkhorn. And that is a big hit as Roussel goes down courtesy of Stephen Crotchik.
And you can't pick a player on the losing team most of the time to be your player of the game, but even Crotchek's played a whale of a football game out there tonight.
Most of them have been solo tackles.
Right there, just comes right through that A gap and meets Roussel in the backfield for a big loss.
And Crotchek transferred from Creighton Prep. Creighton Prep winning last night against Millard North. They're now 3-1. And North takes over on downs. Down 41-17. They're going to fall to 1-3 on the year. Stay tuned on the postgame show as Xander Gray skates his way through a horde of white jerseys, and he's got 11. Xander is nearing 100 yards rushing. So 1 touchdown and come off the field. Post game, we'll have our play of the game, or player of the game, and we'll chat with a Burke Bulldog. Burke's going to go to 4-0, remain #1. The only unbeaten teams in Class A. Burke, Bellevue West, Grand Island, and Millard South. Long pass by Fogelstrom, and this will be pass interference.
Underthrown ball. Defender didn't get his head around and just ran over the receiver. It's going to get called every time.
We'll put that on film of officials. This is what a pass interference looks like. Yes. As we'll get another look at it, you can decide for yourself. If there is a disagreement, then we may have to have some speaks.
Just a double move and an underthrown ball. We're going to get that call every single time, Xavier Watts. Might end up our player of the game, but he did not get player of that play.
Oh, you've gone out and already told us who might be our player of the game. Iowa Western has the career choices that fit your busy schedule. Come to campus, study a lot, or enroll in evening classes now. Visit iwcc.edu. Iowa Western, the world is waiting. 41-17, 3:03 to go in the game. Toss to Gray. Gray. Many shades down the sideline. All right, let's check that. My apologies. Levon Llewellyn for the first time tonight. He is a mini Xander Gray.
Yeah, he's the little bowling ball running back.
I've been saving my movie reference to Xander Gray. I have to take it back, and I apologize.
You haven't gotten any in tonight either.
No, I have not. I will sit out the next play. That is my problem.
Disappointed. Hashtag disappointed.
It's 41-17, John. 4 weeks into the season. Wesson dropped it. He's had a pretty good second half, including a touchdown reception. But he drops the pass here. It stops the clock with 2:54 to go. It'll be 2nd down and 10.
You couldn't North have had a quarterback named Smith. That way you'd have Smith and Wesson.
You know what? This is why we've worked so well together. 5 years. I think it's 5 years, right?
I think it's why they keep us around.
Yeah, you know, when I struggle with the puns, you pick them up and run with them.
There you go.
I'll be gunning for you next week.
I got your back.
Yes. Here's the end around. And that's a 1st down. Jalen Foster with a really good pickup. That's the first time we've seen that jet sweep tonight out of North. And it gets some 1st down and goal. It was 28-3 at halftime.
Valiant second half effort by North. And here in the second half, Gary, it's 14-13 North. They just gave up way too much in the first.
Llewellyn, touchdown. His 2nd touchdown of the season. And that makes it 41-23. Yeah, again for the 2nd straight week, John. Too much of an early hole for North. Last week, they spotted Millard West 21 points. Tonight, they spotted Burke 28. Venner in for the PAT. He has a 39-yard field goal tonight, and he has another extra point to make it 41-24 with 2:26 to go in the game. Again, stay tuned for the post game. Player of the game, play of the game in the chat with a member of the Burke Bulldogs. The Reavers are back in action this season. That's right. Iowa Western's championship sports teams, football, volleyball, all nationally ranked along with soccer. To follow their progress, you can go online to goreavers.com. Iowa Western, the world is waiting. Both of these head coaches, Paul Lamanji of Burke and Larry Martin of North, have a big affinity for Scott Strohmeyer and his football program. They have placed players over at Iowa Western. And the starting running back right now, Milton Sarbaugh, who was part of the championship team last year for North as a starting running back for the Reavers. Zach Martin was a starting quarterback at Iowa Western. Burke will put their hands team out there. As you get a look at Paul Lamanji. His team is 4-0, and he will probably tell you, John, that we can play better than our first 4 games of the season.
I don't think anybody would disagree with him if he said that either. They certainly can. They haven't, to my eyes, put together a 4-quarter football game yet, which is scary.
This is going to snap a 3-game losing streak to North as Venner sends it deep. Payne, and he will go down as Fairgood Jones makes the special teams tackle. And with 2:20 to go, we'll see if Burke will be able to run out the clock. We've seen Burke twice in the last 3 weeks. Against Millard West and here tonight against Burke, or against North, I beg your pardon. When tested, they respond accordingly. They can flip the switch like none other team here in Class A.
They're going to be a tough out. You look down their schedule and you start to wonder who's going to beat them.
Especially as good as they are defensively. Paul Lamanji is in backups now. Keith Forte is in at quarterback. Tyler Chadwick had 4 touchdown passes tonight. There's a Viking down. Stop the clock with exactly 2 minutes to go. Earlier tonight, Barrett Root and Sean Beckton from the Nebraska coaching staff here in attendance. You can follow along all season long. See highlights, game recaps, game stories, information about our next broadcast, and much more. Follow us on Twitter at YurView, YurVieWOM. For example, if you went there right now, John, the latest tweet is James Burke's 69-yard touchdown run earlier in this half that at the time made it 35-17. Xavier Watts a pick 6. That's where we are now, 41-24, as Burke trying to run out the clock. Junior Keith Forte is in the game.
Good-looking young quarterback who's going to probably take the reins next season when Tyler Chadwick moves on.
Chadwick, a 3-year starter. Big thanks to Gene Haynes, the principal at North, for all of his help tonight. Also the new athletic director, Eric Johnson. All the fine folks on the North and Burke coaching staff. Couldn't do our job without their assistance.
How far can we go out?
Win another carry. A couple more plays left. And Burke will be 4-0 and remain number 1. North will fall to 1-3.
Shocking.
Then they go into district play where they will have the opportunity to do work and win a district to get into the playoffs, because their point total coming into tonight, 20th. 16 of the 32 teams in Class A make the postseason.
Yeah, they're probably going to have to win that district.
A carry by Wynn. He is thrown down after a pickup of 5.
That would be an all-time upset if this North squad doesn't make the playoffs. They're going to have their chances to score some points down the line. We're going to get Bellevue West later on in the season, as you said. They'll be right here on YurView. But it's certainly looking right now like they're going to have to run the table in that district and win it.
One more snap, and the Burke sideline will celebrate. And their memory leaving Kinnick Stadium will be a lot better than it was last November. Well, they've called a timeout. Whoa. With 6 seconds to go, Burke calls a timeout, up 41-24.
Didn't want the 5-yard penalty.
You see Paul Lamanji.
Maybe Coach Lamanji just wants to get some of his younger guys in for one snap. Some guys who haven't seen the field yet clear the sideline and give everybody a little taste of varsity football.
Coach Lamanji diagnosed in the spring with tonsil cancer. He is now cancer-free. Found out the good news about 10 days ago. Well, he's got a heck of a coaching tree. Now in his 13th year, he'll enjoy this one over the weekend. This is big to him. But not as big as a win in November in Lincoln. He's definitely got the team offensively, defensively, special teams to do it. So Burke will punt the football away on the final play of week number 4 on Game Time. This ball will just roll. North didn't have anybody back. It will come to a stop. And Burke will go to 4-0. Burke 41, North 24. The postgame from Kinnick Stadium coming up next. It's Game Time on YurView.
Tonight's Game Time Player of the Game is brought to you by Iowa Western. The world is waiting. Check out the stories behind the games all season long. Visit YurView.com.
Now at H&H, Factory Direct Clearance Pre-Owned. As a new car dealer, we get access to Factory Direct used vehicles before the public. And we just got a shipment at all 3 locations. Visit hhautomotive.com and click Factory Direct to see them all. Deals like this 2017 Camry, only $16,000. We're passing the savings on to you at all 3 H&H locations. Or shop online, hhautomotive.com.
Okay, it's decision time. I want to experience a 4-year college in 2 years. I want to live on campus, but get to my career faster. I want to get started now. Find your path at iwcc.edu and get hands-on, real-world experience. Start now at Iowa Western.
You're watching Game Time on YurView. For more in-depth coverage of the top players around, recruiting updates, behind-the-scenes access, and more, check out YurView.com.
Number 1 Omaha Burke remains unbeaten, 41-24 of Omaha North. We're joined by Bulldog head coach Paul Lamanji. Your players after the semifinal game here last year have worn shirts that say unfinished business with a minute 44 on them. Tonight, you guys were all business, got out to a big lead. What did you like about your performance tonight?
Yeah, I just liked our effort, our toughness. I think our guys were ready to play. We had a good week of practice. They were all business for the last couple days, and they were really excited to come out here and play hard-nosed football.
Hey, Coach, you're ahead 28-3 at half. Come out in that third quarter. Omaha North starts to make a little bit of a run. What was the mood on the sideline at that point?
Yeah, I mean, we gotta fix our third quarter a little bit. But yeah, everybody was calm. I mean, we let a couple bad plays occur, and you know, I was just kind of waiting to see how we would recover and kind of letting it calm down before I kind of lost it there. But the guys did a good job of kind of just brushing themselves off, and we hit some big plays and you know, really did what we needed to do to finish.
Hey, Tyler Chadwick, a huge night throwing the ball tonight. What'd you see from your senior quarterback?
Yeah, he was ready to go. He hit some good shots tonight and found some open receivers, and you know, in that second half he had a big third and long on the sideline that was huge. So you know, he had another great game for us.
Coach, thanks for your time. Good luck the rest of the season.
You bet. Thank you.
That's a Burke head football coach Paul Lamanji. His team is now 4-0. They'll remain number 1 tonight. Tyler Chadwick, 4 touchdown passes, and Coach will go over and he'll stand in the middle of the Bulldogs with a big smile on his face. This game was kind of personal to a lot of people involved, especially after the way last year ended, but also to make a little bit of a statement. And definitely Burke has made a statement. They're going to be a tough out, whether it be in September, October, or most importantly in November on their quest for their first ever state title.
They sit atop the rankings, well deserved. We've seen them on 2 occasions now, Gary, and I don't believe that there's a better football team in the state at the high school level than the Burke Bulldogs right now.
They've got some really talented 2A players. Xavier Watts, Chris Hickman, Nick Henrich, they were all on display here tonight. And John, our player of the game.
I'm going to give it to Xavier Watts. 2 receiving touchdowns in the second quarter and a pick 6 to really seal the deal late. Xavier Watts is going to be our player of the game.
Yeah, only a junior, and let's get a look at his magic tonight. Touchdown reception, 1 of 2 from Tyler Chadwick. He likes playing on game time. He had a touchdown reception earlier this season.
This was the big one. Over-the-top shot where he just outruns the defender, and then this one was icing on the cake when North was really trying to get back into it, and bang, right there. Picks it, takes it the distance, and there you see his stat line. 8 catches, 121, and 3 touchdowns, 2 from offense and 1 right there on defense. Xavier Watts, your player of the game.
Our statistician, Frank Ryan, and myself, we both agree with you there, John.
Excellent.
Burke, pretty thorough effort tonight, 41-24 over Omaha North. Let's look at our play of the game tonight.
It comes to you early in the game, and it's none other than Mr. Chris Hickman. Comes around, doesn't get blocked, makes the strip sack. It would result in a turnover. Burke picks up the ball. Just a couple of plays later, Chris Hickman's going to make the catch for the touchdown in the back of the end zone. So your defensive play of the game comes to you from Chris Hickman on the strip sack.
Yeah, he did a little everything. He had interception, a strip sack, and he had many tackles. You kind of see him there without his shoulder pads on. He's got a decision to make. Took an official visit to Nebraska. He will be back in Lincoln tomorrow morning for an unofficial visit when Nebraska takes on Troy, which, if you're a Nebraska fan, you should feel pretty good about that. Back-to-back weekends, Chris Hickman is in Lincoln. So tonight, not a happy night for the Vikings, but boy, that young man in your screen, he is always happy, as he is an honorary coach here with the North football team. That is Jordan Bertzel. He is a freshman here at Omaha North. He is 15 years old. He has Down syndrome. Larry Martin, the head coach of Omaha North, has befriended Jordan and his family, and he's made him part of the coaching staff. And Jordan might be the most valuable player on that sideline. Coach Martin lets him do a little bit of everything, and he is part of this program. And that smile right there, it doesn't matter that the Vikings lost tonight. Jordan loves being around the Viking program, and that's right there. That is via sign for Omaha North. So great seeing Jordan. We'll see the Vikings again later in the year when they take on Bellevue West. But tonight it belonged to Omaha Burke, the state's #1 team. Pretty thorough effort. Tyler Chadwick, 4 touchdown passes. Xavier Watts, 3 scores, 2 from Chadwick, 1 on the pick 6. Burke defeats North 41-24. For our entire crew, including the man to my right, John Schreiner, I'm Gary Sharp. For our entire crew here at Kinnick Stadium tonight, again the final score, Omaha Burke 41, Omaha North 24. You can watch this game in its entirety. All you have to do is log on to YurView.com. From Northwest Omaha, good night, everybody.
This